My friends, students of achievement, and entrepreneurs of this new and dynamic age, I speak to you today about the power of timeless wisdom in the fast-paced world of modern entrepreneurship. We live in an era of unprecedented speed. Trends, tactics, and technologies emerge and vanish with the swiftness of a lightning flash. But I am here to tell you that the fundamental principles of success remain as unchanged and as unshakable as the great mountain. For decades, I have witnessed countless ambitious individuals chasing after fleeting strategies and temporary fads, only to find themselves frustrated and exhausted by short-lived, superficial results. Through years of painstaking experience and the close observation of the world's greatest achievers, I have learned a profound and immutable truth. Sustainable, monumental success is not built upon what is popular at the moment. It is built brick by solid brick upon the eternal principles that have stood firm through every economic climate, every technological revolution, and every cultural shift. Your mindset, your commitment to personal growth, your financial intelligence, and your capacity for consistent, purposeful action. These, my friends, are the timeless pillars of the temple of achievement. They will never become obsolete, no matter how dramatically the markets may evolve or technology may advance. In today's digital age, information moves faster than the speed of thought. Entrepreneurs are bombarded day in and day out with the siren song of quick successes, of get-rich-quick schemes, and of new secret tactics promising rapid and effortless wealth. Yet true, lasting success continues to evade so many, not due to a lack of opportunities, but because of an unwillingness or an inability to adhere to this foundational, timeless wisdom. Timeless wisdom offers you what no fleeting trend ever can. It offers you clarity, focus, and stability in an otherwise unpredictable landscape. Rather than being a leaf tossed in the wind, constantly adapting to shifting circumstances, the entrepreneur who commits themselves to these solid, proven principles gains the clarity and the confidence to withstand any storm, to navigate any uncertainty, and to build meaningful, lasting enterprises. Consider for a moment the great industrialists and visionaries who came before us. They did not build their legacies on temporary trends or social media tactics. Instead, they relied upon timeless, character-driven concepts like unwavering integrity, iron-willed discipline, a commitment to continuous learning, a spirit of intelligent adaptability, and a powerful, commanding mindset. These are the core principles that guide all successful leaders across all generations. They do not expire with changing market dynamics. They do not become obsolete with new technological advancements. Why? Because these principles are deeply and fundamentally rooted in the unchanging laws of human nature and the immutable psychology of success, making them just as relevant and potent to you, the modern entrepreneur, as they were decades or even centuries ago. For the modern architect of success, applying this timeless wisdom means mastering oneself first. It is about the profound and often difficult work of becoming the type of person who naturally attracts success rather than merely chasing its external trappings. Your business growth, your profitability, and its very longevity will be a direct and unflinching mirror of your own internal growth and maturity. When you prioritize the deliberate development of yourself, your mindset, your skills, your relationships, and your values, your business will inevitably and automatically flourish as a consequence. Another reason this timeless wisdom holds such enduring practical value is that it transcends all superficial boundaries. It transcends industry, it transcends geography, and it transcends circumstance. No matter your specific business context, certain truths remain universal. Integrity will always build trust with your customers. Continuous learning will always drive innovation. Disciplined action will always yield results. And a growth-oriented mindset will always transmute obstacles into opportunities. By mastering these fundamentals, you create stability, consistency, and reliability in your enterprise qualities that are increasingly rare in a chaotic world, and therefore increasingly valuable. Furthermore, timeless wisdom provides you with an internal compass in times of confusion. The path of the entrepreneur can often feel overwhelming, especially when faced with the fog of uncertainty. But entrepreneurs who understand and have deeply internalized these foundational truths possess a reliable guide to navigate any challenge. They know how to interpret setbacks not as disasters, but as invaluable feedback. They have learned how to extract a lesson from every experience and how to persistently and relentlessly pursue their goals. Ultimately, the great power of timeless wisdom lies in its profound simplicity and its enduring relevance. Complex, convoluted strategies often obscure clarity, while these fundamental principles offer a clear and practical guide in every situation. The principles that drive personal growth, financial intelligence, and sustained action-taking never lose their effectiveness. As an entrepreneur, your greatest asset is not merely your product, your technology, or your market strategy. Your greatest and most powerful asset is your unwavering commitment to mastering these timeless fundamentals. So the key question is not whether this wisdom is still relevant, for it undoubtedly island. The real question is, are you willing to commit yourself wholly and completely to its daily, disciplined practice? For true, lasting success belongs not to those who chase the fleeting trends, but to those who anchor themselves in these enduring, unshakable principles. My friends, students of achievement and architects of the modern world, we have established that the path to a greater future is paved not with idle wishes, but with deliberate preparation. We now arrive at the first, and I must impress upon you, the most foundational of all principles upon which any lasting success must be built. Before we can speak of mastering markets, of building great enterprises, or of accumulating vast fortunes, we must first address the primary instrument of all creation, the one asset that is both the sculptor and the clay, the architect and the edifice. We must speak of the great and noble work of personal development. Understand this: personal development is more than just an additional pleasant activity on your to-do list. It is the absolute, non-negotiable foundation of all true and lasting entrepreneurial success. In my own long and often arduous journey, and in my close study of the lives of the world's most formidable individuals, I have discovered one profound and unshakable truth. Achieving greatness in the world of commerce is not merely about the acquisition of external wealth or status. Rather, it is fundamentally and at its very core about the internal process of becoming the best, most powerful, and most capable version of yourself. When you commit deeply and wholly to your own personal growth, every other aspect of your life, your business, your relationships, your health, and your overall satisfaction begins to improve, as if by a silent, invisible, and magical command. Personal development is the very cornerstone upon which every lasting success is and must be built. Many aspiring entrepreneurs, in their haste and eagerness, make a fatal error in judgment. They mistakenly believe that success hinges solely upon external factors, upon clever strategies, secret tactics, fluctuating market conditions, and the fickle whims of luck. They invest heavily and often recklessly in the outer trappings of their enterprise, in marketing, in technology, in elaborate business processes. But in doing so, they tragically neglect the most crucial, most powerful, and most influential asset they will ever possess: themselves. The unvarnished and often hard to swallow truth is this: no business can sustainably outperform the character, the wisdom, the vision, and the limitations of its leader. If you desire greater results in your business, you must first become a person capable of creating, sustaining, and intelligently growing that success. Your enterprise is but a mirror reflecting the quality and the stature of the individual who stands at its helm. To grow your business, you must first grow yourself. Throughout my own journey, and confirmed in the lives of every great leader I have analyzed, I have realized the immense transformative power of continuous learning. You must understand that a formal education is merely the lighting of the fire. A commitment to lifelong education is what keeps that fire blazing for a lifetime. It equips the entrepreneur with the skills, the knowledge, and the mental agility necessary to navigate the ever-changing, often treacherous marketplace. It is the faculty that turns unexpected challenges into magnificent opportunities. The most successful people I have ever encountered are, without exception, those who have never, ever stopped learning. They see the world as their university, and every day as a new lesson. Whether it is through the voracious reading of books, which allows you to have a silent conversation with the greatest minds in history, whether it is through the attendance of seminars where you can compress decades of experience into days, whether it is through the seeking of wise mentors who can guide you past the pitfalls they themselves have already overcome, or whether it is simply by engaging with your peers in a spirit of humble curiosity, their unquenchable desire for growth is what truly sets them apart. Continuous learning expands your mind, it sharpens your skills, and it inevitably, as a law of nature, increases your earning potential. The formula is as simple as it is powerful. The more you learn, the more valuable you become. And the more valuable you become, the more the world will be willing to compensate you for that value. Do not see learning as a chore. See it as the prime investment in your greatest asset. Equally critical to your personal development, and a subject that demands your most vigilant attention, is the deliberate cultivation of a positive and empowering self-dialogue. Your self-talk, the silent, and for many, the entirely unconscious conversation you have with yourself from the moment you wake to the moment you sleep, has the power to either build your empire or to destroy it from within before the first stone is ever laid. What you consistently say to yourself in the private chambers of your own mind directly and profoundly shapes your mindset. It influences every decision you make, every risk you take, and every action you perform. You must therefore become the vigilant, unsleeping guardian of your own inner world. You must consciously and systematically replace the insidious, creeping whispers of self-doubt and negativity with the powerful, resonant declarations of positive affirmations, of self-encouragement, and of an unshakable belief in your own potential. Remember this great law of life. The world, to a very large extent, treats you exactly as you perceive yourself. If you see yourself as unworthy, the world will find ways to confirm that belief. If you see yourself as a powerful, capable creator of value, the world will present you with opportunities to prove it. Positive, powerful self-talk builds confidence. It forges an unbreakable resilience, and it develops a profound emotional strength, qualities that are absolutely indispensable for anyone who dares to call themselves an entrepreneur. Building strong, harmonious relationships is another essential pillar of your personal development. The people you surround yourself with have a profound and inescapable impact on your mindset, your habits, and your ultimate success. Your network, your inner circle, what I have termed your mastermind alliance, this significantly influences your perspective, your opportunities, and ultimately your rate of personal and professional growth. You must deliberately and strategically surround yourself with individuals who inspire you, who challenge your thinking, who hold you to a higher standard, and who motivate you to become a better version of yourself. You must cultivate relationships with people who share your vision and your values, who push you toward your goals rather than pulling you back into the comfortable, stagnant mire of mediocrity. I have often said, and it is a truth that has stood the test of time, that you become the average of the people you spend the most time with. Choose your associations wisely, for in choosing them, you are in many ways choosing your own destiny. Additionally, a commitment to personal development naturally fosters emotional intelligence, a critical and often tragically underrated skill for any leader. Emotional intelligence involves the profound ability to understand and manage your own emotions, as well as the capacity to empathize with and intelligently influence the emotions of others. The entrepreneur of the future will not be a cold, unfeeling calculator, but a master of human nature. Entrepreneurs with high emotional intelligence navigate conflicts more effectively. They motivate their teams with greater skill. They build more meaningful and lasting connections with their customers, their partners, and their employees. By actively developing your empathy, your self-awareness, and your interpersonal skills, you position yourself to lead effectively, to handle the immense, unavoidable stress of the entrepreneurial journey with grace, and to build the deep, authentic connections that are the very bedrock of all great businesses and all great lives. Lastly, and perhaps most importantly, in the face of the inevitable trials of your journey, personal development equips you with the indispensable quality of resilience. The path of the entrepreneur will, I guarantee you, bring setbacks, failures, and obstacles. This is not a possibility, it is a certainty. The road to any great achievement is paved with temporary defeats. Entrepreneurs who prioritize their own personal growth, who see every challenge as a lesson, cultivate the mental and emotional fortitude that enables them to recover quickly from disappointments, to extract the valuable lessons from every failure, and to continue moving forward along the way, stronger and wiser than before. Resilience is the spiritual muscle that allows you to transmute the poison of adversity into the medicine of growth. It is the inner alchemy that turns every stumbling block into a stepping stone. In summary, and I wish for you to carry this thought with you long after my voice has faded, personal development is not a luxury to be indulged in when you have extra time. It is an absolute, fundamental, essential. Investing in your own personal growth today, in your knowledge, in your character, in your mindset, will pay magnificent, compounding dividends in your future success. It will provide you with the clarity, the strength, and the wisdom to handle whatever your entrepreneurial journey may throw at you. Commit to developing yourself consistently and relentlessly, and I promise you, you will not only build a thriving business, but you will also architect a life of deep fulfillment, profound meaning, and a lasting, significant legacy. My friends, students of achievement, and architects of the future, we now arrive at a subject so foundational, so critically important, that it serves as the very cornerstone upon which the entire temple of success is built. We have spoken of principles, of actions, of intelligence, but all of these are mere tools waiting for a master to wield them. The power that wields them, the force that gives them direction and life, is the subject of our discourse today. We are here to discuss the mastery of mindset. The power of mastering your own mindset cannot possibly be overstated. It is the absolute, non-negotiable prerequisite for all true and lasting entrepreneurial success. Over my many years in the world of business, and through my deep and prolonged study of the lives of the great achievers, I have learned one undeniable, unshakable, and eternal truth. Your mindset shapes every single aspect of your life. The thoughts you consistently hold in the sanctuary of your mind and the beliefs you choose to nurture in that fertile garden determine the entire trajectory of your actions, your decisions, your emotions, and ultimately your success or your failure. If you want to change your business, you must first, and I repeat, you must first change your mind. All success begins internally, in the silent, invisible world of your thoughts, in the way you choose to perceive your challenges and your opportunities. A powerful mindset is not a gift of birth. It is a fortress built through deliberate, conscious, and daily cultivation. It does not happen by accident. Each and every day, as an entrepreneur, as a leader, you are faced with a relentless barrage of decisions, of unexpected setbacks, of frightening uncertainties. How you respond to these situations, whether you crumble under their weight or rise above them with renewed strength, depends entirely on the mindset you have painstakingly cultivated. If your mindset is one of scarcity, of fear, or of self-imposed limitation, you will see insurmountable obstacles at every single turn. Your world will become a landscape of barriers. But when your mindset is rooted in the rich soil of abundance, of unwavering confidence, and of the limitless possibility of your own potential, you will begin to recognize magnificent opportunities even within the heart of your greatest challenges, and you will find innovative and creative ways to move relentlessly forward. To begin this great work, you must first understand the fundamental choice that confronts every human being. It is the choice between two opposing ways of viewing the world and your place within it. The first is the fixed mindset. This is the mindset of the majority, the default programming of a world that values safety over growth. The individual with a fixed mindset believes that their talents, their intelligence, and their capabilities are innate, static, and unchangeable. They see failure not as a lesson, but as a final judgment on their own worth. As a result, they avoid challenges. For in challenges lies the risk of failure, and in failure lies the risk of being exposed as inadequate. The fixed mindset is a prison of the present moment. It is a self-imposed life sentence that declares, this is all I am and this is all I will ever be. But there is another path. There is the path of the achiever, the path of the creator. This is the path of the growth mindset. The individual who embraces the growth mindset operates from a completely different set of beliefs. They believe, as an article of unshakable faith, that their talents, their skills, and their intelligence can be continually developed and improved through dedicated effort, relentless learning, and persistent application. A growth mindset does not mean you ignore difficulties or pretend that life is without its harsh realities. Instead, it means you approach every single challenge as a precious and invaluable learning opportunity. You understand that setbacks are not only inevitable, but they are necessary. You view them not as permanent roadblocks, but as temporary and essential stepping stones on the path to mastery. Every failure becomes a priceless lesson, a piece of invaluable data, equipping you with deeper insights, greater resilience, and stronger skills to succeed the next time. The man with a fixed mindset sees a great wall and turns back. The man with a growth mindset sees a great wall and asks, what must I learn to climb it? What tools must I acquire to break through it? Or what new path must I forge to go around it? Mastering your mindset, therefore, begins with this conscious and deliberate choice. You must choose to abandon the safe but stagnant prison of the fixed mindset and step into the challenging but limitless landscape of the growth mindset. This then leads us to the practical work of being fiercely intentional about your thoughts and your internal dialogue. If your mindset is the house you live in, your thoughts are the bricks with which it is built. If you consistently dwell on thoughts of negative outcomes, of your own limitations, or of self-doubt, you are actively, though perhaps unconsciously, reinforcing the limiting beliefs that keep you trapped. Instead, you must become the vigilant guardian at the gate of your own mind. You must consciously and deliberately shift your thoughts to positive, empowering beliefs about yourself and your capabilities. For example, when encountering a daunting difficulty, you must train your mind to focus on what you can control. You must force it to take actionable steps, rather than allowing it to become overwhelmed by the uncertainty of the whole. You must affirm your abilities, your worth, and your vast potential. Your subconscious mind, you see, is a loyal but unthinking servant. It does not reason, it does not judge, it simply accepts and acts upon the dominant thoughts and commands you feed it. So you must ensure that these dominant thoughts are in perfect alignment with your grand vision for success. A positive and powerful mindset does more than just motivate you personally. It becomes a contagious, magnetic force, inspiring and uplifting those around you. This is a critical principle of leadership. When you, as the leader, demonstrate optimism, resilience, and unwavering determination, your team is far more likely to reflect those same qualities. Positive thinking, when it is grounded in a definite purpose, attracts like-minded, positive individuals. It creates a culture of growth, of trust, and of powerful cooperation within your business. People will always, and I mean always, gravitate towards leaders who demonstrate strength, positivity, and clarity, especially during the inevitable tough times. This makes your personal, internal mindset your most powerful and influential leadership tool. Another key aspect of mastering your mindset is the deliberate art of managing your emotions effectively. The entrepreneurial journey is inherently stressful. It is a roller coaster of exhilarating highs and crushing lows. And your emotional state, if left unchecked, can significantly influence your decision-making and problem-solving abilities. Entrepreneurs who have truly mastered their mindset remain calm, centered, and clear-headed under pressure. They maintain a state of mental clarity even in times of seeming chaos. They have learned to recognize their emotions, fear, anger, excitement, doubt, without being controlled by them. They use their emotional intelligence to respond to situations thoughtfully and strategically, rather than reacting impulsively from a place of fear or ego. This emotional mastery leads to smarter decisions, to improved relationships, and ultimately to far better business outcomes. You must understand, the mind is a powerful tool capable of driving the most extraordinary accomplishments, but only when it is properly harnessed. Your mindset is the very thing that determines your reality. You must shape it intentionally. You must nurture it constantly with the right thoughts and the right associations. And then You must watch as your entrepreneurial journey flourishes as a direct and inevitable result. The path to a stronger mind begins with the conscious decision to challenge it. You must push it. You must deliberately and consistently step outside of your current comfort zone. Every time you do something that feels difficult, every time you face a fear that once paralyzed you, every time you refuse to quit when your body and your emotions are screaming for you to stop, you are forging new neural pathways in your brain. You are making your mind stronger. You are training it like a muscle to handle greater and greater amounts of pressure. You are developing the kind of mental toughness that allows you to rise above your circumstances instead of being controlled by them. Now, it is important to understand that elevating your mindset does not mean ignoring reality. It does not mean engaging in a form of blind, Pollyannish optimism, pretending that everything is perfect when it is not. On the contrary, it means seeing reality with more clarity than ever before, but choosing to respond in a way that empowers you instead of limiting you. It means taking absolute 100% ownership of your thoughts and your actions. It means refusing to be a victim of your circumstances. Because when you take command of your mind, you take command of your entire life. Too many people in this world wait. They wait for their external circumstances to change before they are willing to change their mindset. They say to themselves, I will finally believe in myself when I see some success. But that, my friends, is a completely backwards formula, a recipe for a lifetime of waiting. You have to believe in yourself first. You have to elevate your thinking first. You have to step into that new, powerful mindset before you will ever see the new, powerful results. And that is the great challenge, because changing your mindset requires you to let go of your old, comfortable ways of thinking. It requires you to break free from the mental patterns that have been holding you back for years. And sometimes that means letting go of beliefs that feel as comfortable and as familiar as an old coat, but are, in reality, keeping you stuck in a prison of your own making. So I ask you now to ask yourself, what beliefs are you holding on to that are limiting you? What thoughts are keeping you from reaching your true and magnificent potential? Because if you truly desire to elevate your mindset, you must be willing to challenge those beliefs. You have to be willing to question them, to hold them up to the light of reason, and to discard them if they do not serve your highest purpose. And when you do, you will start to see the world differently. You will start to see yourself differently. You will start to realize that the only thing that was ever standing between you and the success you desire was the quality and the character of your own thoughts. And once you change that, everything else begins to change. Now, here is the final piece of this great puzzle. Elevating your mindset is not a one-time event. It is a lifelong, daily journey. You do not just reach a certain level of mental mastery and then stop. You must keep growing. You must keep learning. You must keep pushing yourself to think bigger, to see more, and to expand your vision. Because there is always another level. There is always more to learn. And when you commit to that journey, when you commit to elevating and strengthening your mindset every single day as a sacred practice, you will unlock a world of opportunities that were always there, waiting for you, just beyond the veil of your old way of thinking. You are capable of achieving anything you set your mind to. And with every step you take on this journey of mental mastery, you will experience a new level of growth, a new level of success, and a new level of profound fulfillment. We have now laid the internal foundation of a master mind. Before we proceed to the external application of these principles in the world of finance and legacy, I invite you to formalize your commitment to this study. If this timeless wisdom resonates with you, take a brief moment now to subscribe to this channel. Ensure that you are present for every future lesson on this great and noble path to mastery. We will now continue. We now arrive at a subject that is often misunderstood. A subject shrouded in either the dark clouds of fear or the blinding light of greed, yet one that is absolutely essential for the practical application and grand realization of any worthy purpose. We must now speak of financial intelligence and the timeless, immutable principles of wealth building. Let me be clear from the very outset, with a conviction forged from a lifetime of observation, the accumulation of money for its own sake is a hollow and unworthy goal. A life spent in the mere hoarding of riches in the anxious counting of coins is a life of profound poverty, regardless of the staggering balance in one's bank account. However, you must also understand and accept this fundamental truth. Money is a necessary and powerful tool. It is a form of power. It is a tangible representation of crystallized energy. And when it is directed by a definite purpose, guided by a sound philosophy, and commanded by a mastermind, it becomes a mighty and obedient servant for the achievement of noble and magnificent ends. True financial success, therefore, is not a result of how much money you earn, but rather how wisely you command, manage, invest, and multiply that money. It is not about being rich, it is about becoming wealthy. A lottery winner may become rich overnight, but true wealth is a fortress, built brick by deliberate brick upon the unshakable foundation of financial intelligence. Many aspiring entrepreneurs, in their haste and hunger, mistakenly assume that a rising income alone guarantees the creation of wealth. This is a fatal and tragic error in thinking. The world is littered with the financial wreckage of individuals who earn vast sums of money only to find themselves destitute in their later years. The truth is, wealth is not about what you make, it is about what you keep, and more importantly, how effectively you deploy those retained resources to create a state of lasting financial independence and freedom. First and foremost, the single greatest, most profitable, and most secure financial decision you will ever make is to relentlessly and continuously invest in yourself. Your knowledge, your specialized skills, your character, and your insights are the only true assets that no economic downturn, no market crash, and no unforeseen misfortune can ever take away from you. This is the prime investment, the one from which all others flow. Continuous education and personal growth directly and exponentially expand your financial intelligence, empowering you to recognize opportunities where others with untrained minds see only risk and obstacles. I firmly believe, and have witnessed it time and time again in the lives of the great achievers, that every dollar, every hour invested in the deliberate development of your own mind returns 1,000-fold, 1,000,000-fold over the course of a lifetime. This may mean attending seminars, enrolling in specialized courses, hiring mentors who have already achieved what you desire, thereby buying their wisdom and avoiding their mistakes, or the simple yet profound daily act of reading books that challenge your existing beliefs about money, success, and the world. The sharper your skills, the deeper your wisdom, the greater your earning capacity becomes. Your mind is your greatest production plant. You must constantly upgrade its machinery. Building a solid business foundation is equally crucial. Too many ambitious individuals, in their rush to scale the mountain of success, neglect to ensure that their base camp is secure. They chase revenue while ignoring the lifeblood of profitability. They seek market expansion while their cash flow is bleeding out. Financial intelligence requires the iron-willed discipline to first establish clear and robust financial systems, to maintain accurate and honest records, and to engage in regular, unflinching financial analysis. You must learn to speak and to read the native language of your business, and that language is the language of numbers. Your income statements, your balance sheets, and your cash flow reports are not merely dry, historical paperwork for the tax collector. They are the vital signs of your enterprise. They are your intelligence reports from the great battlefield of commerce. To know your numbers intimately is to have clarity. To have clarity is to have control. To ignore them is to be a blind general on a battlefield, swinging your sword in the dark, hoping to strike the enemy by chance. Proper financial planning is another of the great pillars of wealth building. Without clear, definite financial goals and a practical, written plan, entrepreneurs risk falling into the deadly trap of short-term thinking, of reacting impulsively to every market fluctuation, of spending their resources without a definite purpose. You must establish clear, measurable financial targets for your business and for yourself, both for the short term, the next quarter, the next year, and for the long term, the next 5, 10, 20 years. You must then outline the specific sequential steps you will take to achieve these goals, including revenue milestones, expense management strategies, and investments that align with your overarching objectives. Intentionality is the hallmark of all successful financial planning. It is not about hope. It is not about luck. It is about the calculated, deliberate, and persistent application of action toward a well-defined and passionately desired end. Financial literacy extends far beyond the singular act of earning. It must encompass the disciplined management and the intelligent growth of your accumulated wealth. This involves budgeting wisely, saving systematically, and minimizing all forms of unnecessary debt. A budget, to the master of finance, is not a prison of restriction, as the average mind believes. A budget is a written plan for your freedom. It is the sovereign act of telling every single dollar where to go, instead of waking up at the end of the month and wondering where it went. Within this budget, you must enact the sacred law of all wealth creation, the law of paying yourself first. Before a single dollar is paid for rent, for food, for any other expense, a definite portion of your income must be set aside for your own investments, for your own future. This act does more than build capital. It is a profound declaration to your own subconscious mind and to the universe that you are a creator of capital, not merely a consumer of it. Equally important is your understanding of debt. You must know when it can be leveraged as a powerful tool for productive growth, such as acquiring an income-producing asset, and when it poses an unnecessary and dangerous risk to your financial stability in the form of consumptive debt, which serves only to fund a lifestyle you have not yet earned. Finally, we arrive at the art of investing wisely, which is the critical skill that multiplies your wealth. True financial intelligence means making informed decisions about risk and reward. I must differentiate here between speculation and investing. Speculation is a game of chance, an act based on tips, on hope, on the desire for a quick and effortless profit. It is, in short, a form of gambling. True investing, on the other hand, is the disciplined and intelligent allocation of capital based on specialized knowledge and a definite plan into ventures that you understand and that align with your long-term goals. You must discover the eighth wonder of the world, the great law of compounding. You must understand how small, consistent, and intelligent investments made over a long period of time can grow into staggering fortunes. This requires the one virtue that the speculator and the get-rich-quick artist never possess: patience. The ability to delay immediate gratification for a far greater future reward. The entrepreneur who builds lasting wealth focuses on sustainability, on the steady, persistent, brick-by-brick construction of their financial fortress, rather than on the frantic pursuit of quick and fleeting profits. In summary, financial intelligence is a philosophy, a mindset, a complete way of being. It encompasses far more than simply making money. It involves the strategic earning, the disciplined management, and the thoughtful investment of your resources. By first and foremost investing in yourself, by strengthening the financial foundations of your business with the light of clear and honest numbers, by understanding and commanding your resources through intelligent planning, and by adopting a patient, long-term perspective, you create not only a great fortune, but a lasting financial freedom and security that will serve as the powerful, tangible foundation for your life's greatest work and your most enduring legacy. My friends, we now arrive at the final and most crucial principle of our entire discourse. It is the great catalyst, the spark of divine fire that transforms all that we have discussed from the ethereal realm of philosophy into the solid, tangible reality of living, breathing achievement. We have spoken of the profound necessity of personal development, of the unshakable power of a mastered mindset, and of the practical science of financial intelligence. You are now in possession of a blueprint for success so powerful, so complete, that if it were followed with unwavering faith and persistence, it could reshape any life into a monument of greatness. You have the knowledge, you have the strategy, you have the mindset. But I must now impress upon you, with all the force of my being, that all of this, all your knowledge, all your plans, all your noble intentions is but a dormant seed that will never break the soil until it is activated by the one great life-giving principle of them all. We must now speak of taking deliberate, consistent, and purposeful action. Action is the great bridge between the invisible world of your thoughts and the visible world of your results. Ideas, no matter how brilliant, hold no value in and of themselves. They are mere psychic phantoms, fleeting and powerless until they are clothed in the physical form of action. A vision, no matter how compelling or divinely inspired, remains a mere hallucination until you take the first concrete physical step toward its realization. A definite decision, however firm, is but a king's decree with no army to carry it out until it is followed by immediate and relentless execution. Too many otherwise capable individuals in this world become trapped in the paralyzing intellectual loop of endless planning, of overanalysis, of a crippling hesitation they mistake for prudence. They read another book, they take another course, they refine their perfect plan one more time, always believing, tragically, that they are not yet ready. But I am here to deliver to you a profound truth. You do not become ready by waiting, you become ready by doing. Confidence is not the prerequisite for action, it is the consequence of it. You build your confidence, you forge your self-belief, and you prove to your own subconscious mind your own capabilities, not through idle contemplation, but through the hard, tangible, undeniable evidence of your own courageous movement. You must come to understand the great law of momentum. An object at rest tends to stay at rest. This is a fundamental law of physics, but it applies with even greater force to a human ambition. This is the law of inertia, and it is the silent killer of more great dreams than any other force on earth. The most difficult part of any great journey is always, and without exception, the first step. It requires the most energy, the most will, the most raw courage to overcome the gravitational pull of your past habits and the comfortable inertia of your present circumstance. But once you take that first difficult step, and then the next and the next, a new and magical force comes into play. The great benevolent law of momentum. An object in motion tends to stay in motion. Your small, consistent, daily actions begin to compound upon one another. They build a powerful current that becomes easier and easier to maintain until it becomes a nearly unstoppable force, a great river of purpose, carrying you relentlessly and with ever-increasing speed toward the ocean of your goals. Therefore, do not concern yourself today with conquering the entire mountain tomorrow. Concern yourself only with all the focus you can muster on taking the first definite step today. That is all that is ever required of you to set this great law into motion. But to what end do we take this relentless action? Merely for the accumulation of wealth? Merely for the attainment of personal power or public acclaim? No. To do so would be to build a magnificent ship with no ultimate harbor, a life of motion without meaning, the final and ultimate purpose of all your disciplined action. The great why that must fuel your every effort and sustain you through every trial is the conscious and deliberate building of your legacy. A legacy is the story that your life will tell long after you have departed from this world. It is the impact you leave behind, inscribed not on cold monuments of stone, but in the warm, living hearts and minds of the people you have served, the communities you have uplifted, and the positive change you have contributed to the world. You must now begin to ask yourself the ultimate questions, the questions that separate a life of mere success from a life of true significance. When the final chapter of my life is written, what will be its title? When my days are done and the ledger of my life is tallied, what will it show? Will I be remembered for the comfort I accumulated or for the contribution I made? Will my legacy be a mere pile of assets, or will it be a monument of meaning? Will my story be written on a cold, sterile balance sheet? Or will it be inscribed in the progress of humanity, in the lives I have bettered, and in the inspiration I have provided for others to follow their own path to greatness? A true and lasting legacy is built upon the foundation of impact and contribution, not just profits. You must strive with every fiber of your being to add real, tangible value to the world through your products, your services, and your ethical conduct. You must serve your customers with a spirit of absolute excellence. You must uplift and empower your team, seeing them not as cogs in a machine, but as partners in a noble enterprise. You must actively contribute to the community around you. For the businesses and the entrepreneurs who are remembered most fondly throughout history, whose legacies endure the relentless test of time, are always those who created meaningful change and improved the lives of their fellow men. And you must understand this final, profound truth. A lasting legacy can only, and I mean only, be built upon the unshakable bedrock of character and integrity. How you achieve your success matters infinitely more than the success itself. An empire built upon deceit, a fortune acquired through exploitation, these are nothing but houses built on sand, destined to be washed away by the inevitable tides of time and truth. Authentic leadership, kindness, generosity, and humility are not soft, optional virtues. They are the indestructible, granite-like materials from which any lasting and meaningful legacy must be built. Your character is the only thing you will truly leave behind. A person's character is the only thing that is truly immortal. In the end, my friends, taking action and building your legacy means aligning your daily, consistent behaviors with your highest long-term vision. It means impacting the world around you in a positive and constructive way. It means consistently showing up day after day in service of your great mission. Every choice you make, every single action you take from this day forward is a brushstroke on the great, magnificent canvas of your life's work. We have now journeyed together through the great internal landscapes of the self. We have spoken of personal development, of mastering the mind, of achieving financial intelligence. But now we must turn our attention outward from the individual to the collective, to explore one of the most mysterious, most potent, and least understood laws of all human achievement. I must now reveal to you a truth that fundamentally contradicts the popular and romanticized myth of the lone genius, the solitary inventor, the single-handed titan of industry. That truth, my friends, is this: no great fortune, no monumental achievement, and no lasting legacy has ever been built by the efforts of a single, isolated mind. Every great leader in the annals of history, from the dawn of civilization to the present day, whether they were conscious of the principle or not, understood and applied the incredible power of the mastermind. This is the great principle of coordinated, harmonious effort. It is the alchemy of alliance, a process through which the sum becomes infinitely, almost miraculously, greater than its constituent parts. Let us define this incredible power with the precision it deserves, for a misunderstanding here is fatal. A mastermind is the coordination of knowledge and effort between two or more people in a spirit of perfect harmony for the attainment of a definite and shared purpose. Do not mistake this for simple teamwork, a business partnership, or a casual networking group. What I speak of is a phenomenon that is as much psychic and spiritual as it is intellectual. When two or more minds are blended in a state of perfect harmonious cooperation, a third, invisible, yet tangible mind is born. This third mind is a non-physical entity. It is a psychic vortex of energy and intelligence, and it is as real as the electricity that courses silently through a copper wire. This third mind has access not only to the combined knowledge, experience, and creative faculties of all its members, but it also has access to something far, far greater. It becomes a direct and powerful conduit to what I have termed infinite intelligence. It is the universal storehouse of all knowledge, the source of all inspiration, the ether in which all thought vibrations exist and from which all new ideas are born. The individual mind, on its own, can and often does struggle to connect with this great cosmic reservoir of power. It is frequently filled with the discordant static of fear, of doubt, and of a multitude of conflicting desires. But the third mind, born of pure harmony and a singular, definite purpose, is a clear and powerful receiver. It can tune into frequencies of thought and inspiration that are utterly inaccessible to the individual operating alone. This, my friends, is the true and scientific secret behind the hunches, the flashes of genius, the strokes of luck, and the uncanny foresight that seem to characterize the lives of all great and effective leaders. It is not luck, it is the direct and predictable result of a mind, or an alliance of minds, that is in harmonious alignment with this universal source of all power. Consider the great men I studied so closely. Henry Ford, on his own, was a brilliant mechanic with a powerful vision. But the Ford Motor Company, the great industrial empire that put the world on wheels, was not born from his mind alone. It was born from the mastermind alliance he so carefully forged with his key engineers, his most trusted executives, and even with his wife, who shared his faith with unwavering conviction. Their collective, harmonious, and relentless focus on the definite purpose of creating a motor car for the multitudes created a third mind so powerful that it bent the entire industrial world to its will. Thomas Edison was a singular genius, yes, but his legendary laboratory at Menlo Park was one of the most effective mastermind groups ever assembled. He deliberately surrounded himself with specialists, with thinkers, and with tinkerers from dozens of different fields, and from the harmonious blend of their minds, 1,000 world-changing inventions, including the incandescent light bulb, were born into reality. The critical ingredient, the absolute and non-negotiable catalyst, without which this great chemical reaction of minds cannot occur, is perfect harmony. And I must pause here, for this is the point where most attempts to form a mastermind fail. Harmony, in this context, is not mere polite agreement. It is not the absence of debate. It is a deep, resonant alignment of spirit, of values, and of purpose. It requires absolute, unshakable trust. It requires unwavering loyalty. And it requires a willingness on the part of every single member to subjugate their personal ego for the greater good of the group's definite aim. Where there is jealousy, where there is suspicion, where there is unresolved personal conflict, the third mind cannot and will not form. The psychic circuit is broken. The spiritual connection is severed, and the group reverts to being just a collection of individual minds with all of their inherent and individual limitations. A single negative, cynical, or distrustful mind introduced into a mastermind alliance is like a drop of potent poison in a well of pure water. It will corrupt the entire psychic chemistry of the group and dissolve the third mind before it can ever fully form and function. Therefore, you must choose the members of your alliance with more care and deliberation than a king chooses his most trusted generals. You must look beyond their knowledge, beyond their skills, and into the very essence of their character. You must ask, is this a person of unimpeachable integrity? Can I trust them implicitly with my greatest ambitions and my deepest vulnerabilities? Do they operate from a spirit of abundance and cooperation, or from a spirit of scarcity and suspicion? Do not, I implore you, compromise on this point. Perfect harmony is the catalyst for the alchemy. Now, let us dissect the practical application of this principle for you, the modern entrepreneur. How does one build and maintain such a powerful alliance in today's world? There are definite rules, and to neglect them is to ensure failure. First, as we have touched upon, your mastermind alliance must be built upon the solid bedrock of a single, definite purpose. The group cannot have scattered or conflicting aims. Every member must be passionately and unreservedly committed to the same central objective. This definite purpose acts as the great magnetic core around which the energy, the thoughts, and the faith of the group can coalesce. Without this centralizing force, your meetings will devolve into mere social gatherings, pleasant, perhaps, but ultimately powerless. Second, the alliance must be built upon a clear principle of fair contribution and just compensation. Each member must be willing to contribute to the group with their full and unreserved effort, with their specialized knowledge, and with their unwavering faith. A mastermind is not a place for leeches or for psychic parasites who seek to take more than they give. It is an alliance of producers, each one committed to the success of every other member, knowing with absolute certainty that this is the fastest and surest path to their own individual success. And likewise, there must be a clear, equitable, and agreed-upon understanding of how the rewards of the group's efforts, be they financial, reputational, or otherwise, will be shared. Once your alliance is formed, you must nurture it as you would your most prized asset. You must meet regularly, at least twice a week if possible, and even more frequently during times of great challenge or opportunity. These meetings are not for casual conversation. They are sacred sessions of coordinated mental power. There must be a clear agenda. Each member must come to the meeting prepared to contribute. You must foster an atmosphere where ideas can be shared freely, where they can be debated vigorously, but always, always in a spirit of absolute respect and underlying harmony. The role of the leader in such a group is not to dictate, but to facilitate, to be the guardian of the harmony, and to keep the collective mind focused with laser-like intensity upon the definite purpose. When you successfully create and maintain such a group, the results will be nothing short of miraculous. You will find that the collective mind of your group can solve problems in a matter of hours that would have plagued you as a lone individual for months or even years. You will find that new, brilliant, and often revolutionary ideas seem to flow into the group as if from some unknown external source. You will find that your own courage and your own faith are multiplied and fortified by the faith of your allies, creating an unshakable wall of collective belief that no temporary defeat, no external criticism, and no obstacle can ever penetrate. Look around you at the modern world. The myth of the self-made man is just that, a myth. Every great enterprise, every significant technological breakthrough, every world-changing movement is, at its heart, the product of a well-organized and harmonious mastermind. You, the modern entrepreneur, must cease to think of yourself as a solitary soldier fighting your battles alone against the world. You must begin to see yourself as a great general whose first and most important task is to assemble a general staff of loyal, brilliant, and harmonious minds. Your ultimate success will not be a measure of your own solitary genius. It will be a measure of the wisdom with which you select and the harmony with which you lead your mastermind alliance. This is the ultimate form of leverage. This is the timeless and eternal secret to multiplying your own power and achieving your grandest and most cherished ambitions. We have now journeyed together through the great internal landscapes of the self. We have spoken of the deliberate cultivation of your personal power, of the absolute necessity of mastering your own mindset, of achieving the intelligence required to command financial resources, and of the profound psychic alchemy of the mastermind alliance. You are now in possession of the core components of the great engine of achievement. But all of these, as powerful and as essential as they are, remain as dormant potential as a great and magnificent army assembled on the field, polished and prepared, but awaiting its final marching orders. There is one final crowning virtue that breathes the fire of life into all the others. There is one singular act of the will that serves as the great fulcrum upon which the entire lever of your ambition rests, the point at which potential energy is transformed into the kinetic, world-altering force of action. We must now speak of the most distinguishing mark, the clearest dividing line between all successful men and women and those who are doomed to a life of mediocrity and regret. We must speak of the awesome, destiny-shaping power of a definite decision. In my decades of analyzing the lives of more than 25,000 individuals, from the most spectacular successes whose names are carved into the annals of history, to the most tragic failures whose names are forgotten by time, I have discovered one simple yet profound habit that separates these two groups more than any other single quality. The men and women who achieve greatness, without exception, have cultivated the habit of making their decisions quickly, firmly, and definitely. And they change those decisions, if they ever change them at all, very, very slowly. Conversely, the men and women who fail, and they constitute the vast majority of humanity, are, without a single exception, those who have the habit of making their decisions, if they ever succeed in making them at all, with painstaking slowness, and they then change those decisions frequently and quickly at the first sign of opposition or adversity. I want you to burn this truth into the very fabric of your mind, for indecision is the silent killer of all noble ambition. It is a subtle and insidious poison that paralyzes the will. It is a self-inflicted mental paralysis that leaves the most brilliant of plans to wither and die in the barren fields of inaction. Indecision is a fog that descends upon the mind, obscuring the path forward and making every potential direction seem fraught with unimaginable peril. A man who hesitates, who vacillates, who perpetually waits for the perfect time or for all the facts to be in, is a man who is unconsciously surrendering his own divine power of creation to the chaotic and merciless whims of circumstance. Let us now, with the precision of a surgeon, dissect the psychology of this debilitating habit. Let us understand our enemy before we seek to conquer it. Why do so many otherwise capable individuals live in this state of perpetual agonizing indecision? The reasons are few, but they are as powerful as they are universal. First, and by far the most common, is the paralyzing fear of making the wrong choice. This is the great tyranny of perfectionism. The indecisive man is often trapped by the dangerous illusion that there exists a single, perfect, risk-free path to his objective. He analyzes and overanalyzes every possibility to the point of complete mental exhaustion, desperately seeking a guarantee of success that life never offers and never will. And so, in his obsessive quest to make the perfect decision, he makes no decision at all. And in making no decision, he has in fact made the worst decision possible. The decision to remain stagnant, to let precious opportunity wither on the vine, to allow the magnificent muscle of his own potential to atrophy from disuse. You must understand this. A good plan, violently and immediately executed now, is infinitely better and more powerful than a perfect plan that is to be executed next week, next month, or, as is so often the case, never at all. The successful entrepreneur, the great leader, does not fear error. They understand that a wrong decision, acted upon with vigor, can often be corrected on the battlefield of experience. The feedback from that action provides the very intelligence needed to course correct. But the cost of inaction, the price of squandered time and lost momentum, can never be recovered. The second great cause of indecision is the destructive and deeply ingrained habit of seeking the opinions of others. The man or woman who lacks a deep and abiding faith in their own mind constantly seeks validation and permission from the outside world. They poll their friends, their family, their colleagues, asking for their advice, their approval, their blessing. But a vision that is subjected to a committee will inevitably be diluted into a state of beige mediocrity. While the counsel of a wisely chosen mastermind is an invaluable tool for gathering information, for testing your own logic, and for seeing the problem from multiple angles, the final decision must be a sovereign and often solitary act. To ask others to make your decisions for you is to surrender the captaincy of your own soul. It is a silent admission that you do not trust the guidance of your own inner compass, the whisper of your own intuition. And this leads us directly to the third and most fundamental cause of all indecision: the absence of a definite chief aim. A man who does not know his ultimate destination, his great port of call, will naturally and logically hesitate at every single crossroads. Any wind can seem like a contrary wind to a ship that has no harbor. When your purpose in life is clear, definite, and has become a burning obsession, your decisions become astonishingly simple. At every fork in the road, you need only ask your inner self one single clarifying question. Does this path lead me closer to my definite chief aim, or does it lead me further away from it? With a powerful purpose acting as your unshakable North Star, the fog of indecision lifts, and the correct path, though it may be the most difficult one, becomes illuminated with the brilliant light of absolute clarity. Now, let us examine the very nature, the metaphysics, of a true, definite decision. The word decide, my friends, has its roots in the Latin term decidere, which means quite literally to cut off. This is not a mere metaphor. It is a literal description of a profound and powerful psychic event. To make a true decision is to take the sharp sword of your will and to decisively, finally, and irrevocably cut off all other possibilities. It is to burn the bridges to all alternative paths, leaving only one way forward, the path you have chosen. It is in this powerful, almost violent act of cutting off, of absolute and total commitment to a single course of action, that you focus the entire concentrated power of your subconscious mind and align yourself with the great forces of the universe, which always and inevitably rush to the aid of the determined soul. A true decision is a clear and unambiguous command you give to your subconscious mind. As long as you are wavering and hesitating, your subconscious receives 100 conflicting and contradictory orders. It is held in a state of confusion, its great and magnificent power scattered and neutralized. It is a great army with 100 generals all shouting different commands. But the moment you make a definite, final, and emotionally charged decision, you give that army a single, clear, and unambiguous command from its one true general. The internal civil war of debate ceases. The mental static clears. And the entire force of your inner world, day and night, begins to organize itself for the attainment of the object of that single, powerful decision. So how then does one cultivate this crowning virtue? How does one forge this habit of command? It is done, like all things of great value, through deliberate, conscious, and consistent practice. You must begin in the gymnasium of small choices. You must build your decision muscle on the minor, seemingly insignificant matters of your daily life. For the next 30 days, I charge you with this powerful exercise. On every small matter that presents itself to you, what to eat for your next meal, which task from your list to begin first, which route to take on your journey, which article to read, you will give yourself no more than 60 seconds to gather the essential facts, and then you will make a decision. And once that decision is made, you are absolutely forbidden from revisiting it, from second-guessing it, from regretting it. You will move forward with the calm assurance that you have made your choice and you will stand by it. By practicing this on the small things, you are training your mind, you are wiring your very neurology for the powerful habit of decisiveness, so that when the great and momentous decisions of your life present themselves, you will be prepared, you will be trained, you will be ready. Next, you must learn to consult and then to trust your inner oracle, your intuition. As you practice the principles we have discussed of recharging your mind, of achieving a state of mental quiet, you will find that you become a clearer and more sensitive receiver for the subtle whispers of your own subconscious mind. This is the faculty I have often referred to as the sixth sense. It is not some mystical fantasy. It is the data report from your subconscious. Your subconscious mind processes millions of bits of information that your conscious mind misses. A hunch or a gut feeling is its executive summary delivered to you in the language of emotion. A leader must learn to trust this internal intelligence report. The greatest decisions in history were not born of spreadsheets and logical proofs alone. They were born of a deep, intuitive knowing, a flash of insight that the leader then had the courage to act upon. Learn to respect these hunches. They are the guidance system of your soul. Finally, you must learn to use your mastermind alliance wisely in the context of decision-making. The purpose of your alliance is to provide you with counsel, not to grant you permission. Its role is to help you gather all the facts, to see the problem from every possible angle, and to vigorously challenge your thinking so that your decision is as informed and as intelligent as it can possibly be. But the final sovereign act of choosing, of cutting off all other possibilities, must be yours and yours alone. To ask your group to decide for you is to abdicate your role as the leader. You gather their wisdom, you thank them for their counsel, and then you retreat into the silent sanctuary of your own mind to make the final, definite command. In conclusion, my friends, the power of definite decision is the great catalyst that transforms a dreamer into a doer. It is the bridge that spans the chasm between the world of your vision and the world of your action. It is the very fulcrum upon which the entire lever of your will rests, allowing you to move your world. All the planning, all the mindset work, all the personal development, all the powerful alliances, they are but a prelude to this one decisive, creative moment of commitment. It is the moment you stop asking what if, and you declare with the full force of your being, it shall be. This is the great turning point in every successful life. This is the moment you stop being a creature of circumstance and truly become a creator of your destiny. My friends, we have now journeyed together through the great inner chambers of the self, through the very architecture of the achieving mind. We have stood in the stark, illuminating, and often uncomfortable light of the honest review, possessing the courage to see ourselves in our past year, not as we wished it had been, but as it truly was. We have taken up the master sculptor's chisel in the second chamber, learning the sacred and powerful art of the elimination of the non-essential, chipping away the dead weight of distractions and obstacles to begin revealing the masterpiece within. We have entered the great engine room of our lives to understand the invisible architecture of our days, committing ourselves to the forging of unbreakable habits. We have ascended to the highest watchtower of the mind to gaze upon the limitless horizon of our own potential and engage in the divine act of creating a definite vision. We have explored the profound psychic alchemy of the Mastermind Alliance, and we have felt the world-altering power that is unleashed by a definite decision. You are now in possession of a blueprint for success, so powerful, so complete, that if it were followed with unwavering faith and persistence, it could reshape any life from any starting point into a monument of achievement. You have the knowledge, you have the strategy, you have the mindset, you have assembled a magnificent engine, polished and perfect in every mechanical detail, sitting silently in its housing. But an engine, however perfect, however powerful, is merely a sculpture of potential. An engine without fuel and without the decisive spark of ignition is nothing more than cold, inert, and useless metal. And so we arrive at the final and most essential principle of them all, the principle that breathes life into vision, that gives force to decision, that turns habit into achievement. It is the principle that bridges the vast, silent chasm between the invisible world of your thoughts and the tangible, visible world of your results. We must now speak of the great catalyst. We must speak of the commitment to deliberate, consistent, and purposeful action. You must burn this truth into the deepest recesses of your subconscious mind until it becomes the very bedrock of your new identity. Vision without action is a mere hallucination. A plan without execution is a work of fiction. A habit unpracticed is a noble idea that dies in the cradle. A decision not acted upon is a king's decree with no army to carry it out. The great bridge between the magnificent world you have so carefully envisioned and the world you now inhabit is built not of hopes and wishes, but of the solid, rugged timber of the actions you take day in and day out without fail. It is built plank by plank, nail by nail, with the sweat of your discipline and the undeniable force of your will. Let us now dissect the great and insidious enemy of action, the silent killer of all ambition. That enemy is the habit of hesitation. It is the tyranny of the word someday. Too many otherwise capable individuals become trapped in the paralyzing loop of endless, sterile preparation. They read another book, they take another course, they refine their perfect plan one more time, always believing with a sincerity that is tragic that they are not yet ready. But I am here to tell you a profound truth. You do not become ready by waiting, you become ready by doing. Confidence is not the prerequisite for action, it is the consequence of it. You build your confidence, you forge your self-belief, you prove to yourself and to the world your own capabilities, not through contemplation, but through the tangible, undeniable evidence of your own courageous movement. You must understand the great law of momentum. An object at rest tends to stay at rest. This is a law of physics, but it is also a profound law of the human spirit. This is the law of inertia, and it applies as much to a human ambition as it does to a stone. The most difficult part of any great journey is always the first step. It requires the most energy, the most will, the most courage to overcome the heavy inertia of your past habits and the gravitational pull of your present comfort zone. But once you take that first difficult step, and then the next, and the next, a new and magical force comes into play, the force of momentum. An object in motion tends to stay in motion. Your small, consistent daily actions begin to compound, building upon one another, creating a powerful current of progress that becomes easier and easier to maintain, until it becomes a nearly unstoppable force, carrying you relentlessly toward your goal with ever-increasing speed. The universe, my friends, rewards motion. Therefore, do not concern yourself today with conquering the entire mountain tomorrow. That is a task that will overwhelm the mind and paralyze the will. Concern yourself only with this, taking the first definite and purposeful step today. That is all that is ever required of you. But to what end do we take this relentless action? merely for the accumulation of wealth, merely for the attainment of personal power? No. To do so would be to build a magnificent ship with no ultimate harbor, to embark upon a great voyage with no final meaningful destination. The ultimate purpose of all your action, the great why that must fuel your every effort, especially in the darkest and most difficult of times, is the conscious and deliberate building of your legacy. A legacy is the story that your life will tell long after you have departed from this world. It is the impact you leave behind, inscribed not on monuments of cold stone, but in the warm and living hearts and minds of the people you have served, the communities you have uplifted, and the positive change you have contributed to the world. You must now begin to ask yourself the ultimate questions of your existence. When the final chapter of my life is written, what will be its title? When the dust of my days is finally settled, what of value will remain? Will I be remembered for the comfort I accumulated for myself, or for the contribution I made to the lives of others? Will my legacy be a mere pile of assets to be divided, or will it be a monument of meaning that continues to inspire? A true legacy, the only kind worthy of a life lived with purpose, is built upon the foundation of impact and contribution, not just profit. You must strive to add real, tangible value to the world through your products, your services, and your daily ethical conduct. You must serve your customers not with the mindset of a merchant seeking to extract the maximum, but with the spirit of a benefactor seeking to provide the absolute best. You must uplift and empower your team, seeing them not as cogs in your machine, but as valued partners in your great mission. You must actively contribute to the community around you, for no enterprise can long flourish that does not enrich the soil from which it grows. The businesses and the entrepreneurs who are remembered most fondly, whose legacies endure the great test of time, are those who created meaningful change and improved the lives of their fellow men. And you must understand this with every fiber of your being. A lasting legacy can only be built upon the unshakable bedrock of character and integrity. How you achieve your success matters infinitely more than the success itself. An empire built upon deceit, a fortune acquired through exploitation or the harm of others, these are nothing more than magnificent houses built on sand, destined to be washed away by the inevitable tides of time and truth. Character is the only thing that endures. Authentic leadership, kindness, generosity, and humility are the defining qualities of true and lasting greatness. When you conduct yourself and your enterprise with these principles as your unwavering guide, your legacy becomes not just financial or professional, but deeply personal and profoundly influential. In the end, my friends, taking action and building your legacy means aligning your daily, consistent behaviors with your highest long-term vision. It means impacting the world around you in a positive and meaningful way. It means consistently showing up in service of your great mission. Every choice you make, every action you take from this day forward is another brushstroke on the great canvas of your life's work. The turning of the calendar is merely a symbol. The power is not in the date. The power is in your decision. The decision to act, not soon, not when the time is right, but now. Your new year does not begin on January 1st. It begins in the very moment you commit to these principles and take your first deliberate step. You have done the work of reflection. You have cleared the path. You have defined your habits and crafted your vision. There is nothing left to do but to begin. Do not wait for a feeling of motivation. Motivation is a fickle and unreliable servant. It is discipline, born of a definite commitment that is the true king of achievement. The pen is in your hand. The unwritten masterpiece of your coming year awaits its first bold stroke. I charge you now not to hope, not to wish, but to decide. Decide that this year will be different because you will be different. Decide that your vision is not a dream, but a destination for which you are setting sail today. And then take the first step. Begin now. Final call to action. Our work for today is complete, but your great journey has only just begun. The principles shared in this discourse are your map and compass. To ensure you continue to receive guidance on this magnificent path, I urge you with all sincerity to take these final definite actions. First, subscribe to this channel and activate the notification bell. Consider it your ongoing enrollment in the great study of self-mastery and deliberate achievement. Second, If this message has provided you with value and stirred your spirit, bestow a like upon it as your vote of confidence in this philosophy. And third, share this knowledge with one other soul whom you believe is ready to stop being a creature of circumstance and start becoming an architect of their own tomorrow. Finally, and most importantly, you must seal your commitment with action. In the comments below, make a public declaration. Do not write a vague promise. Write down the single most important, definite, and immediate action you will take before this week is out to begin the construction of your new year. Let this be your first act of unshakable commitment. I thank you.